What is up, you guys? So today I'll be teaching you how to do the manual stitch or the hand stitch closure wig. So these are the bundles I'll be using. Is a 28 inches bundle and a 2x2 closure in 20 inches. So yeah, I just have 3 bundles and you'll be needing your mesh wig cap. You could use any one, but I use that. And then you'll be needing your Sharpie. I got this from Wig Tools on Instagram. You'll be needing your scissors, your thread and needle. I like to use the curved needle because it's way easier than the straight one. And then I'm going to be using a 22 inches canvas head. My client's head size is 22 inches, so that was what I'll be using. It looks like a human head. And then I'll be using my T-pins to help me hold down the cap and the wefts. And then I'll be needing my tripod stand, of course, to put my canvas head on it. So the first thing is to place the wig cap on the canvas head, and it's just basically wearing the cap on the canvas head. And then I'll be using my T-pins to secure the cap on the canvas head and make the cap stretch out a bit so I can see my lines clearly. And then yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and adjust it until it's okay. So the next step is I'll be taking my closure and I'll be folding it into 2 because this closure didn't really come with a line. It did, but when I was bleaching it, I didn't find it anymore. So I'm going to just use my Sharpie to mark the middle so I can see where the middle is, and then I will be placing it on the wig cap, and then I'll use my bobby pin to place it on the part that I marked so I can know that's the middle. And then while you are placing your closure, you need to pull it like an inch down from the cap, so it gives you this natural look when you wear it. And then I'm going to use my T-pin to hold it at the back as well to secure it. The goal here is to get a really flat closure. We don't want any bumpy wig. So I'm going to, while I'm using my T-pins, I'm going to stretch it out to make it really flat. And then I'll be doing the same for the side. You're going to see me stretch it out to make it really flat. So you're going to pin it on the top side and then the front. While you're doing that, please stretch the closure wig. I said closure wig. Stretch the closure, and I'm going to do the same for this side as well, and make sure I get my 1 inch in front of the cap. So you're going to see me pulling it, and then I'm going to go ahead and just look around and adjust it, but you can see how flat that closure looks. That's the goal. So behind here it doesn't look flat, so I'm going to just go ahead and adjust it and make sure it's really flat. Then I'll go ahead and start sewing my closure down. Next step is threading our needle. So you're just going to watch what I'm doing. It's just to make sure you get the right length. I always use arm's length because if it's too long, it's going to get tangled while you're stitching your hair. So you're just going to go ahead and fold it into 2 and then pass it through the eye of the needle. By the time you're done, you're supposed to have 4 thread because this thread is not really strong. We want to get really strong to keep our wig in place, so that is why we are folding it into 4. If the thread is thicker, you can just use 2, but the thread is not really thick, so I'm just going to use 4. When you're done, you're just going to tie it. You're going to knot it. You're going to knot it. I knot it twice or 3 times, whichever one works for you. And then next step, I'm going to start stitching. So you're going to pass the needle through the wig cap and through the closure, and to secure that, I'm going to go ahead and sew it on that same spot again so we can knot the thread. And once I'm done securing that, I'm going to just cut off the excess thread, and then I'm going to go ahead and continue stitching. So I'm going to pass the needle through the cap and then the closure, and then I'm going to also pass the needle under the thread twice to secure it. It's I'm knotting it So yeah, again I'm going to explain that after I've passed the needle through the cap and the closure, I'm going to also pass the needle under or beneath the thread, one of the thread, and it's going to help me secure that stitch. It's kind of it's like I'm knotting the sewing. So just watch my hand. Yes, I'm going to pass it twice and then secure it. So I'm not spacing it too much. You don't need to space it too much. Just give it the right amount of spacing and then you're going to secure it. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue stitching. I will forward it a bit, but you're still going to get what I'm sewing. And yeah, this process is very easy. This stitching, sewing a wig is really easy. It's just like you're sewing your normal clothes. It's just a simple process. It's going to be hard for you at first, but if you continue practicing, you're going to get the hang of it. And yeah, I'm just going to keep on stitching until I'm done stitching the closure down, and we'll go ahead and continue stitching our bundle. So the thread got finished, so I'm going to go ahead and cut and knot to secure the sewing. I'm going to knot it 3 times. Yeah, and then if you want to continue sewing, you're just going to do the same process. Thread your needle and then you start sewing, and make sure for the first sewing you're going to go over that place twice to secure that sewing, and then you're going to continue. It's that easy. So for some reason I didn't know my phone wasn't recording this part, but I'm using my Sharpie to line the wig cap. So I basically just used my measuring tape and measured 1 inch each, and I continued with my hand. So I just marked off 1 inch and then I continued drawing the line with my free hand. So these are called guidelines. So it's just going to guide you on where to sew your track and also help you calculate the number of bundles you'll be needing for your wigging. So yeah, this is what it looks like. I'm going in with the first bundle. So I'm going to use double tracks for the first 2 lines and then single tracks for the middle, and then continue with double tracks at the end, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to pass my needle through the tracks, through the weft, sorry, this is called weft, and then I'm going to start sewing on the first track. I'm just going to pass the needle through the weft to secure the beginning of the sewing, and then at the end I'm also going to pass the needle through the wefts, but in the middle I'm going to pass the needle underneath the wefts, if that makes sense. Again, I'm going to pass the needle through the weft and then through the wig cap, and go ahead and pass the needle under the thread to secure the stitching. I'm going to do this process 2 to 3 times, and then I'm going to use my T-pins to help me hold the bundles, and then I'm going to go ahead and start passing the needle underneath the weft. Again, for the beginning of each sewing, I am passing the needle through the weft and then through the cap, while for the middle I'm going to just pass the needle under the weft then through the cap, so it secures and gives the wig a flat look. And yeah, I'm going to just stop talking so you guys can see what I'm doing. You can see that I'm passing the needle under the weft and through the cap. So when I get to the edge, I'm going to pass the needle through the weft to make it flat. and not longer under the cap. So you're going to see me sewing that. So for the end, you're going to see me passing the needle through the weft, no longer under. So I'm passing it through it and then securing it. I'm going to continue like that. I'm not going to cut the weft, sorry. I'm just going to continue stitching, and then I will fold it over the second line and continue sewing. Some people cut their weft, but sometimes my clients do not want me cutting their hair, so I just continue folding it and sewing. But sometimes I cut. Some clients don't mind. Cutting it is way easy actually, but folding it somehow makes the wig bumpy. But I'm going to go ahead and sew that down so it doesn't look bumpy and it looks really flat. So I'm passing the needle through the weft again at the beginning and sewing it through the wig cap. So just make sure you follow your guidelines. I'm basically just following the guidelines. I mostly don't because I'm now used to making these wigs. So but for a beginner, you actually need this guideline to help you know where to place your tracks. And then yeah, I'm just going to continue sewing until I get to the top. So after this second track, I'm going to go ahead and sew with the single track. I'm not going to double the weft anymore. I'm just going to use single wefts because I'm only working with 3 bundles and I don't want to have shortage of hair. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this part. And yeah, so if you're cutting, do not cut from under. You're supposed to cut from up so you don't cut off the client's hair or your hair. So you're going to cut from up and not under. And then I'm going to go ahead and stitch down the weft so I secure the end as well. So for the next track, I'm using single weft. I'm no longer doubling it so I can have enough bundles to help me throughout the wigging process. So in the middle, I'm going to use single track, while at the end I'm going to use double track. So from the beginning stage, you're going to use double tracks, middle you're going to use single tracks, and then the end you're going to use double tracks so you can have enough bundle for your wigging. So you can notice that I've already started using the second bundle. So now that we're at the top, I'm going to cut, and then I'm going to continue with doubling my tracks. So I'm doubling my webs now, and I'm going to continue doing that till I finish sewing the wig, because I'm confident now that my bundles will be enough. Yeah, but if you have enough bundles, if you have like, let's say 4 or 5 bundles, you can continue with your double tracks until you're done with your wigging. But here I'm working with just 3 bundles. I have to calculate. So now I'm in front. I'm going to go on with cutting my hair. I'm not going to fold it anymore, so I don't want any bumpy wig, and I'm onto the 3rd track now. So I'm going to show you guys how to add your wig, no, your bundle, sorry. So yeah, this is the 3rd bundle. I'm just going to attach it to the end of the last one I sewed, and then I'm going to pull it close to each other, and yeah, it looks like I continued with 1 bundle, but no, I added 1. So it's so easy. I'm going to continue sewing until I get to the top. So when you're up here, you're not folding it anymore, you're going to keep on cutting, and then you're going to see me measuring the length of the guideline, and then I'm going to cut. So whichever one works for you, you can go ahead and sew, and then you cut when you're at the end, or you measure, cut before you sew. So anyone works. I'm going to show you guys the 2 methods, and yeah. So this is the last and final track, and I'm going to go ahead and start sewing. I'm going to sew it very close to the closure, but not on the closure, just beside the closure. It's just like you're marrying the both of them, so they are going to be aligned together. I don't know what English to use, but you get what I mean. It's going to be close but not on top. So you're just going to go ahead and stitch until you get to the end. Just wanted to show you guys up close. You can see that they are side by side, but they are not on each other. So you're just going to sew the bundle close to the lace, and yeah. So this is the little piece we have left from the bundle. I'm just going to look for a space in the middle and just sew it in. And yeah, we have our wig. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to cut out the extra cap underneath the net. You're just going to put your hand under the cap and carefully cut out the material under the closure, so we don't have a dark closure underneath. You're going to cut close to where we started stitching, but you're not going to really cut it close, and yeah, it's that easy. This is what the final hair looks like, all sleek and cute. And I went ahead to style it. I have a video on how to style your straight and curly hair, so you can go ahead and check my channel. And yeah, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.